right on into it right now. Some action for you guys. Of course, thank you very much for sticking with us and for staying again tuned during the break. If you did stick around, if you're just joining us, then welcome for the WCS qualifier. It's been a hectic day for us so far with the Leifeng Cup playoffs already having taken place. And now here we are in the WCS qualifiers. Let's do this. Lots of action still to come your way today. There's an NA qualifier tonight as well. Lots and lots of fun. To the top right-hand side, our blue Terran player is going to be uThermal. Currently teamless, of course. The recent IEM Shanghai champion. This is the first time I'm casting him since he's back from Shanghai, which is nice. I cast him when he was in NSL, but of course then he was still in Shanghai, you see. You see what I did there is a useless but useful fact. It's a useless, sort of, I don't know what I'm saying. Guys, at the bottom left-hand side for Millennium, our red Terran player is MarineLorD. He's going to be coming in here after taking down Mini Razor 2-1 in the WCS qualifier. Both of these players would, I imagine, quite like to get to WCS Copa America. I don't think MarineLorD... Actually, MarineLorD might be in kind of somewhat BlizzCon contention if he could win WCS Mexico. But uThermal especially is in BlizzCon contention if he can get to WCS Mexico and do well there, but that's still going to be tough for him. So qualifying, I mean, a lot of these players, I mean, it is more or less the last chance to get WCS points this year. So it's, for a lot of players, a very, very important qualifier, this one, and over the next few days when we have the other qualifiers. As we do just see. 2x Reaper opening is actually going to be very aggressive. 2x Reaper into kind of Reaper Hellion here from uThermal with that fast factory on the way. Now, coming across the map, all MarineLorD has seen is one Rax. He hasn't actually seen this... oh no, he saw the factory. So he sees the factory, but it's a little bit late, so he might be a little bit intrigued as to what this is. He himself has just expanded as uThermal, making 2 Reapers at a time, now 1 Hellion on the way up. Let's see when he wants to add on that starport and what he does try to get out of the starport as well when he goes into this. As we're going to be seeing this Reaper just coming in. And just continue to move around, continue to see what's going to be going on as the Reapers will collect together. There's one Reaper from MarineLorD has to be very careful at the front here. It's very vulnerable right now in this position. Of course, there is a Hellion on the way to help it out, but it is the only unit on the map right now. If these 3 Reapers go up this ramp and kill that Reaper, immediately MarineLorD's next Hellion is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Nice pullback from MarineLorD. That's exactly what he had to do there. Pull back as soon as possible. Nice little grenade as well to buy some time. And now, all of a sudden, we see these Reapers. They are going up against a Hellion, a Reaper, and 2 Marines. However, there comes a Hellion to help hold the low ground. As we'll see, a nice grenade going down. 2 of these Reapers very low from uThermal. Loses 1 nice grenade once again, though. uThermal will turn to fight this now. If another Reaper comes in, he will just save that Reaper. Good Hellion save as well by MarineLorD. Very cute micro from both players so far. Solid micro, actually, to just bring both of them into a position where anything could still happen at this point. I like this. So the Reapers loop around the side. They can come in from the high ground, which means they have the high ground vision ahead of time. They don't have to run up a ramp all clumped up against the Hellions. We're going to see 1 Hellion going down here. No, still alive. MarineLorD really making the most of this. There we go, though. Finally, uThermal breaks on through. This 1 Marine on the low ground as well will fall. And we will see this, well, 1 Reaper and 1 Hellion moving forwards now. Just get a little bit more done. Grenade goes down, pushing that Marine back. That hurt Reaper wants to get in on the action again, but wants to be careful. Does not want to waste, you know, does not want to come in too early. As we do see, oh, the grenade saves uThermal's use for a little while longer. This is still a huge micro wall from both players. The thing is, though, from uThermal, he's just not getting enough done. He hasn't got an expansion. He's still building Reapers, Hellions, now a starport with a tech lab. He's 9-10 workers behind. And again, without an expansion, this is going to be troubling. MarineLorD doing the right thing, continuing to build kind of, you know, another Hellion here or there, Marine production as well. It helps him out a lot as we're going to see these units actually lifting up. I was going to say, bad time to actually go across the map. But he is actually going to end up here just with, you know, he's just kind of pulls back actually. So, 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions still out here. Both players go Cloak Banshee as a follow-up to this, and so this really is tough for uThermal because he's just so far behind on this, you know, on this early expansion. As we're going to be seeing these 3 Hellions, these 4 Reapers moving up the ramp, going to be coming in here, and could have got a really good shot off onto these Marines to begin with. There's still potential for uThermal to do damage. He still has more units here at the front, but that timing is slowly slipping away. As you see, those grenades don't really land on the SCVs as well as he would like to. I like this, though, using the scan to get the high ground vision. Nice pull away by MarineLorD, gets that Reaper, Well, gets that kind of deeper up. As we actually see a Liberator coming across the map from uThermal. I didn't know he built a Liberator. I thought he went straight into Banshees, so that's interesting. No anti-air here, actually, apart from the Marines. But the Marines are not necessarily the best, as we're going to see. Grenades will come down to protect this Liberator for a little while longer, so it gets set up again. Some more drones or SCVs are going down. All of a sudden, MarineLorD is down to only 14 workers, and all of a sudden, uThermal has finally started to do enough to break through this here. This depot will be saved, as the Liberator sets up again, doesn't quite survive. We're going to see this Cyclone here take a bit more damage. Has cleaned up a lot of the rest, a lot of the final units at the front. A crazy, crazy game number 1 here between uThermal and MarineLorD. And guess what? It is Banshee time, and MarineLorD just dropped all of his mules. That is not a good time to mule up exactly as that Banshee comes in. That is the worst possible feeling for a Terran player in a TvT, when you drop all your mules and all of a sudden. So that's my bad, and obviously that really hurts MarineLorD there. As we set up, uThermal is going to open with game number 2 with a proxied barracks as he sends his first SCV out onto the map already. He is the blue Terran player to the bottom right-hand side of the map. It is uThermal. To the top left, we are going to be having our red Terran player. It is going to be from Millennium. Let's hear it for MarineLorD. Did you see this SCV just coming across here? And of course we are expecting that proxied barracks play to come down, just because we've already seen the SCV coming across the map. Does click, I believe, just with this SCV to move it to the side here later. Yeah, so he's not going the second SCV up yet. He's just going to be proxying just the barracks and maybe the factory afterwards as well. So interested to see how this goes. Racks into gas. And imagine, again, maybe even actually proxy Reaper Hellion could be something that we see here, as we're going to be seeing the gas coming down. So gas coming down over to the left side. We're going to be seeing this SCV from MarineLorD starting to move out into towards the center. Now he's going to see here very early on that there isn't a barracks across the map, and that will begin to make him realize here what exactly, or what the possibilities are that uThermal is starting to get up to. Now uThermal actually goes a tech lab. Wow, you know what? It's been so long since I saw Proxy. Is this going to be Proxy Marauder? Because it has been so long since I've seen Proxy Marauder as an opening. It's actually very good when you consider the sort of standard openings of Terran players nowadays, which is to go sort of Reaper Expanse and that sort of thing. Oh, I like this, because this isn't even kind of all in. It's cheesy, it's aggressive, but it's not all in at all, because you just build your factory back at home, you expand pretty early from it still. And you get yourself into a good position. Now, what's going to be interesting is that there's a second Rax from MarineLorD. His reaction to this is saying, you know what, pull SCVs, get ready to defend this, make sure I'm going to be good to go. But the thing is, against a Proxy Marauder build, that's actually not really oftentimes the right thing to be doing here. The right thing to be doing is something maybe a little bit different, as we're going to see that Marauder now scouted. I don't think the second Rax is really necessary, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes, as this Marauder, kiting backwards here, picks up one SCV kill already. Second Marauder on the way, and concussive shells, of course, most importantly, about to complete. That means it makes it a lot more easy for him to engage in towards a Reaper or so on. I mean, you know, if you catch the Reaper with a concussive shell shot, then it doesn't go down. And that is a big mistake by MarineLorD right there to allow that Reaper to go down. Another Reaper rallies into this. This is huge mistakes by MarineLorD, because, oh, uThermal actually doesn't get that Reaper kill. That's actually a big mistake from uThermal there. A little bit of miss micro from him. Doesn't get as much done as he maybe could have done. As we're going to see him continue to move forward, so he's going to move back up this ramp. One Marine, one Reaper, one Hellion is out on the map right now alongside these SCVs. I love the targeting on the Reaper, because I feel as though that's probably one of the better units to get rid of here. A high mobile unit that can be tricky to deal with. Although maybe the Marine does a bit more DPS. I guess the grenades from the Reaper are one of the more annoying things, though, as we are going to be seeing these Marauders pulling back again. Going to be just looking to shut down another Marine there. And the Hellion should actually shut this down. Another Marauder coming in, though. So, again, targeting kind of Marines, unsure what he wants to do. Nice little bit of micro to make sure he picks up that Marine there in and out, getting a couple extra shots on the Marauder. He's going to pick off that Hellion too, and I don't know if MarineLorD's just been a bit over-aggressive. Back at home, uThermal goes into a tank. He goes into a starport as well. Very interesting follow-up coming in here. I wonder if we just see sort of a very aggressive sort of follow-up to this. I mean, I don't know. Do we just see like a tank medevac, or do we see a tank Viking? It's very interesting, the possibilities here. Another Marine gets caught, and that's the thing. Those trades are so good for uThermal, where he just picks a Marine up from a distance, although he does end up losing that Marauder. He needs another Marauder here pretty soon, because 3 Marines and 1 Hellion are, actually quite a lot of units there, but then he does catch them, and again, once there's 2 Marauders, it just becomes so much more powerful here. So continued trades in the early stages of this resources loss is actually favouring uThermal so far. And again, uThermal is actually beginning to expand. He's got a tank on the way out. I love this, actually. Because you look at MarineLorD's opening, and he's got nothing to deal with a siege tank at the front. And Marauders, if they can continue to harass at the front with a tank to back them up, that's going to be so, so powerful. That's going to be so, so good here. I love this scan. Pushes these units back. He knows he's going to have the time to get rid of a supply depot. And that's big as well. Getting rid of, forcing another 100 minerals out, supply blocking his opponent, an important part of the game. Oh, this is kind of cute, though. The Marines going to start going across the map here. Tank is actually going to pull back. uThermal was saying, well, actually, you know what? This medevac might cause some issues for me. Builds a Cyclone now. I like that. The Cyclone, a very good way to defend here in the early stages of the game. As this barracks is actually just lifted up, floated away. And 3 more Marauders in this tank going to come back home. I like this, though. The Viking, he knows this medevac's out on the map, right? So what he does, he just comes in, he starts to work his way against it. He's going to commit. He wants to kill the medevac, because if he kills the medevac, guess what? All of these Marines go down for free, because these Marauders will make sure they don't get away. Takes a little bit of damage on the siege tank, but that can be repaired. Great from uThermal once again here to kick us off into game number 2, I think. And this has been a fantastic opening, because now his command center is finished. He's up 3 workers already. He's got a good army to defend with. He's picked off the first wave of aggression out of his opponent. What does MarineLorD do? Does he expand? Does he get aggressive himself with, well, a little bit of an extra army supply of his opponent, but into kind of a siege tank and a cyclone? A defensive setup from uThermal here is going to be so hard to break. uThermal does miss out on barracks production. That's something to keep in mind. We might very well see actually uThermal going into a second factory and playing a mech playstyle. That's actually one of the common ways we see kind of a proxy marauder kind of following up in. Just this sort of mech playstyle. Because you don't have your barracks at home initially. As we are going to be seeing the command center just continue to build up on the natural for MarineLorD now. So finally starting to expand in towards that natural expansion. Not looking super pretty for him just yet. As those Vikings starting to work their way through that barracks. So barracks taking quite a bit of damage. Moving over to the side here will land in just a moment or two. As we're going to be seeing the Cyclone moving forwards as well. Going to lock on there to that barracks. And that will continue to take some damage. So damage continuing to be done, and uThermal, with a lead in the early stages of the game, starts to play mech. And with an early lead, starting to play mech is very, very powerful. If Rax goes down, he will have to rebuild that if he wants to build more factories or anything later in the game. As these Marauders catching a few units here. Initially, Vikings are up in the skies. Tank does unload from MarineLorD. I'm not sure if this is exactly the position which uThermal wants to be in here. This is not a good trade for him, I don't think. I mean, he does, I guess in the end, he cleans out quite a lot. Moving forwards there at the very end to try and take down the Viking, I think. His Viking should turn around and work its way through that Viking of his opponent. Get that kill, maybe turn and kill the medevac. Either would be good. A second Viking coming out. It's an interesting trade. uThermal loses quite a lot. You can see that resources lost tab jumping up in his opponent's favor. And, well, I guess the thing is, uThermal does have the second CC up so much early. He has got a 10 worker lead, so he can afford to be a bit behind on resources lost. It's just unfortunate that he took that fight, because otherwise he would just have so much of a bigger army in the next few moments. Now we are going to be seeing again just an SCV repairing up a Viking. Medevac will be repaired up afterwards. MarineLorD going to pull a second SCV and is a bit frustrated how slow this is going. No, he's actually pulling the SCV away to the side. He's going to build a third base. Wow, he is. Third base in location. I mean, when he knows his opponent's playing mech, there's not very much that can really deny the third command center when you're playing mech. Although he actually thinks twice about it. Because actually maybe, I guess Hellions are maybe more likely to pick off a command center at the third base than a bio player is. So, just going to play it safe. Starts the third base in his natural expansion. uThermal, I wonder if he does go for a third command center, or whether he wants to go into just more factories and just push on 2 bases. I mean, his army supply is starting to lead. He's still in a big economic lead. I think it's safer just to build the third base. I mean, it doesn't matter that's a little bit behind his opponents. Both players are going to have to float it out as well. And uThermal for now just wants to set up safely and securely. I mean, the last thing I guess he wants to do is push across the map and all of a sudden just be ran into and just doesn't have enough and misjudge something or so. I mean, I don't think that would happen if he did do it, but it's a very risky way to play, so he's continuing to add on Vikings. He's going to add on more tanks as well. He's got very few sort of tanking units. I guess he's going to get some more Hellions out in the near future now as his extra factory if a reactor comes up. But right now it's just a lot of tanks on the way out. We're talking about 6 tanks currently being out for uThermal against the 3 tanks of his opponent. Pretty crazy stuff. So, I mean, obviously it's mech, so you expect something like that. Look at this from MarineLorD. This Banshee gets spotted by the Hellions, and so that's a great read. Or a great kind of piece of information for uThermal. He's actually already got turrets up. He's going to add another turret or 2 just to make sure he's safe. And the thing is now, he will save scans to make sure he can scan that Banshee and make his way against us. He actually scans there, but he should have another scan soon to be able to scan any sort of cloaked Banshee that comes in to try and defend against him. And this slow push just starts to move forwards here. So slow push forwards, just going to siege a couple tanks at a time so that any point these Marines try and move forwards, kaboom. Big damage done, and actually that's just enough damage to maybe push on through into these sieged up tanks. One of them at the front here is just going to get taken down, and uThermal is 30 to 40 supply ahead. Moving on in, the Banshee flies into a turret, it goes down as well, and this is just going to be uThermal. If the high ground vision is able to pick up the siege tank on the high ground, the Banshee does cloak, but that's what the scan is for, and there's that scan coming in. GG from MarineLorD, uThermal with a 2-0. Playing some fantastic StarCraft here, some fantastic